Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Good evening, everyone. So, let me just check if I'm live and then we'll get started. Okay, I think I'm live. So, let's get started with this session as well. So, this is lesson number 74, and we are into concepts of Bootstrap Part 2. So, we are going to understand here some of the different concepts in Bootstrap. We have already seen some of the concepts in our previous session, which was happening around 6 p.m. to 8:30. And now we are again here back with another session of Bootstrap. So we're going to understand different functionalities of Bootstrap, which is not known to you guys as if you guys are new to Bootstrap. So we're going to understand that, and also we're going to see how this works. And we'll do two more programs on CSS. We are going to understand two more programs on CSS, which was left. So we'll try to do that as well. Okay. So if you guys are new here and you do not know what is happening, so just let me know. Sorry, I'll let you know that this is a particular playlist which we are covering up. So this is a free course content which we are providing on front-end development, and we are CodeBeyond by Unacademy. So I have already covered front-end playlist, and I've already covered many of the languages, and starting with the frameworks now. So HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, a broad concept about those all three languages have been explained, and we have studied about that. One second, just let me check the audio. Right, so we have seen that, and now we are starting with our Bootstrap. So we have seen HTML interview questions, CSS interview questions, JS interview questions, some of the advanced concepts in JavaScript, and all of the things we have completed, right? So if you have not watched those, please go ahead and watch it, because you will learn a lot from those sessions as well. So then come back to this one, and slowly we are going to also cover jQuery and Tailwind CSS and React as well. Okay, so fine, let's get started with this session. And if you do not know about me, then let me just introduce myself to you. So my name is Ritwik Raj, and I'm a corporate trainer. I have been working as a subject matter expert and a research analyst in most of the edtech companies. It's been 3 years that I have been teaching to train graduates and corporate employees of Verisal and Capgemini, and I've trained more than 30K students till now. It is increasing day by day. The subjects which I take is mostly into front-end development, back-end development, database languages, mostly into full-stack development domain. And I do take tips and tricks on how to crack interviews, you know, the virtual ones and the face-to-face. So I've also created some of the sessions on interview preparation, which is there in cracking interviews playlist. So if you have not seen that, please go ahead and check out, because in that you'll be able to understand how company works and how company hires, which company you should go and how you should prepare for it. All those detail sessions have been taken there. It's a 4-hour session which I have taken on tips and tricks part 1 and part 2. Go ahead and have a look on that. Soon I'll be coming up with part 3 and part 4 also in the month of December, where I'll be discussing about more interviews and what all things you need to keep on your mind when you are moving into a company or switching the company or joining a company, right? All those things will be discussed in that. Okay. Hi, Somu. Hope you're doing fine. And my college has started in offline mode, so unable to attend live classes. No worries, Somu. Whenever you're finding your time, please go ahead and watch all the sessions. It's already placed there. You just need to watch it. So maybe at night when you're free, or maybe at morning whenever you're free, whenever it feels like you can open YouTube and just go ahead, right? So it's okay if you have offline classes. That's not a problem. Okay, so you can use my code RIT10 to get a free level sample test paper. Now, if somebody who doesn't know what is a level, don't worry. In just 1 minute, I'm going to tell you about it. But if you already know about it, then you must be knowing that you have to give an actual test, and that test is of 1,000 marks. So to help you out, we are providing this coupon code, which is RIT10, which will get you a free level sample test paper, which will help you on understanding, you know, uh, what are the different kinds of questions which will be asked in the level sample, which will be asked in the level actual test paper. Okay, so please go ahead and use this code RIT10. And if somebody who is not knowing what is this Relevel, then let me just introduce it to you. Okay, uh hi, seeing best, can you please come make a complete roadmap for internships and placements. Roadmap for internships and placements. What do you mean by that? So is it like when you should go for internships and when you should apply for jobs? Are you talking about that? Please do let me know, Singbist. I'm not I'm confused what you're asking, okay? So let me just introduce to Relevel. What is Relevel? Okay, now Relevel is a product by Unacademy, and this has come to in its way because there are lots of reasons behind it. So basically, many times candidates miss out on great opportunities due to multiple reasons. The reasons can be anything. The first reason is maybe you're not a BTech or B graduate and you are some BC or BSc or BCom graduate, but you want to move into IT sector. You want to work in IT sector. You have the skills, you have the talent, you have done some projects as well. But looking at your resume, when company looks at it, they just look at your degree and then they reject it, right? So you need to so these things should not happen, because if you have the skills you should get the job. And the same thing happens with BTech graduates as well, because they're from tier 3 college, and because this is the fact, that's why many of the MNC companies do not you know take them for interviews or get them hired, because they are from tier 3, because they want the good students from tier 1, tier 2. So but these things are really should not happen, because if you guys are skilled enough, if you guys have done something in your life, then if you guys have knowledge, then you must get placed, right? So that's why your resume doesn't stand out with those 100 others applying for the same startup, and you have applied for 50 60 companies but haven't been called for even single interview. That's where Relevel comes in, which is India's first test hiring platform by Unacademy, which is helping job seekers find their dream jobs, and you can get a job based on your skill and talent. And how we are going to judge you on the based on skill and talent, because you have to give a free test which is of 1,000 marks, and because it is of 1,000 marks, that means a whole lot of questions will be there around different topics. So we are kind of judging you with that whether you have the skill or not. Once you will pass that exam, let's say you are scoring above 700, then you're going to pass that exam. That means you're getting eligible for a profile which will create for you, and that profile will be sharing with over 50 plus companies, including top startups and unicorns, which are having 1,000 plus job positions across business development, front end development, and back end development, right? So this will be really a good chance for you guys to go ahead and give a try, because with Relevel you are in a unique position to invite interest from companies instead of hunting for opportunities on your own, right? Now that we have talked about Relevel, now let's understand how to register yourself in relevel.com, right? So the website link is already given in the description. If you can find it, in the very first link is the relevel.com. Click on it and it will take you to relevel.com, where you have to put down your mobile number and you have to just get an OTP. Once you do that, you have to select the test of your choice. So whatever is your skill, just choose the select from here. And let's say that you have a skill on front-end development, select that and then move to book a slot. So you have to book a slot when you want to give the level test. Slots are limited, so I suggest you to book it fast. And once you do that, you have to fill in the details. So your full name, email ID, birth year, current state, gender, everything you need to fill it down, and then you have to put down your coupon code, which is RIT10. So please do not forget to put down this coupon code, otherwise you will not get the sample paper, right? So please use the coupon code RIT10, click on apply, click on create account. Once you reach to the accounts page, your account will be there and you will get a sample paper. Okay, please download the sample paper. You will be able to understand what kind of questions can be asked in your actual test as well, right? So these are the things which I want to tell you. So do not forget to use the promo code, right? And register for Relevel right now if you have not done it. If you've already done it, then all the best for the actual test. If you have given the actual test and if you have not passed, then don't worry, after 30 days you can reattempt the test. So prepare for that. And suppose if you are willing to take the test but you're not skilled enough, you think that the things which they will ask me, I don't have any idea about it, and you want to upskill yourself, so go ahead in CodeBeyond channel and check out the playlist, which all playlist is going on right now. So we have a different playlist which is going on, right? We have backend, we have Python, SQL, we have we have front-end playlist which is going on, DSA, CP, everything is going on right now. So go ahead and take 1 month, upskill yourself, come back when you're ready, and then register for Relevel, right? Now this was all about Relevel, so please join the Telegram channel as well. The Telegram channel link is given in the description below. You can join this because you will get all the notifications and update about each of the educator when they're coming live with what topic at what time. So all these informations will be shared with you in the Telegram channel. So please join that. And also please do subscribe the YouTube channel, which is CodeBeyond. Hit the notification bell so that you can get updates and notifications in YouTube app as well. Okay. Also, please, if you're liking this session, please like and share so that more and more number of people will be able to get understanding of this, and they will be able to get free knowledge, right? So we are into Bootstrap Part 2. Before that, let me just read what Singbist is saying. I mean, what all should we study and from which sources for getting into tech companies. Okay, fine. So I think a 10 to 20% of things I have told it in Tips and Tricks Part 2 wala session. But yeah, not completely. So fine, Singbist, I'll come up with that. One second, just let me take a screenshot. So yeah, I'll be coming up with that. Don't worry, I've noted it down. So just give me some time and I'll come up with that. Okay. Hi, Shilash, Roy. Good evening. So let's get started with Bootstrap Part 2. So we have understood a lot of things in Bootstrap in the previous session, right? We have understood how easy and how cool is it to work with Bootstrap, how frequently you can just use class name to do anything and everything with Bootstrap, right? So let's just open one second. One second, guys. I'm just opening it up. I hope you can see it now. Okay, great. So let me just open the browser also so that you can see everything. So I think we studied till, one second, you can't see the browser also, right? One second, guys. I think there is some problem. Okay, my browser is not visible. One second, guys. Let me just correct it. Yeah, now it is. Okay, one second. Let me just adjust this and we'll start. Sorry for the delay. These things happen a lot. Okay, cool. Um, mm, okay, now can you see it? Perfect. Fine. Fine. We are ready to go. So I'm just going to open that folder in which we were creating the Bootstrap programs, and this is it, right? So we are doing some of the programs in Bootstrap. We did some table and all, and we saw how this looks like. Let me just open it with live server so that you can see till where we did. So we did till here. We did the tables and all, right? And now we'll do some images. We'll also use some buttons. And let me just tell you what all things we are going to see. So, in web pages, you must have seen that you have product cards, right? And product cards are something which is very, very important to understand how is it done, right? So I'm going to show you in this session two very amazing things. First thing, I'm going to create a product card using only HTML and CSS. And I'm going to also show you how to create product cards only using Bootstrap. Okay. So using CSS also it's very easy. If you know the concept, you'll be able to create it. And Bootstrap also it's very easy, right? So we are going to see that. We're also going to see, let's say that, you have a web page where some notifications comes in, right? So when notifications comes in, then it says that you have 4 notifications, 5 notifications, 6 notifications. So how that notification bar changes into the different counts, right? 5, 6 and all. So all that particular thing also we are going to see now. Fine. So these all things we are going to see, and let's start. Let's begin with that. Okay. So first of all, we are going to understand how this images can be used. Okay. And then later on, we are going to understand some different things. Fine. So first of all, let me just take one image. So let's say I'm using a class, I'm going to use a container. I can understand every time whenever you're using a Bootstrap, you have to mention the container, because every div is nothing but a container. So every time you need to mention the containers, because container will make sure in Bootstrap that whether you want different columns or not, container fluid will always be used in some headings or in a header. In those cases, we use container fluid, but normally we use container this thing itself. MT3, you must be knowing what is it, right? It's margin top. So let's just put up one image. Let's try to see how it looks like. So I have 3-4 images here. I'll be using the same images, right? And let's understand what is it providing me. So I'm just putting here source, the name, and then I'm going to just give a width. Let's say something like maybe 300, and some height. So let's say maybe 235. Okay, let's save this and let's check out how this image is coming. So let's go back to my browser and you can see this image is coming, right? And here, if you can observe, this is just a normal image. Nothing I have done here right now is just normal image, right? Now to this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it rounded. So for here, what I'm going to do, let's make a class. Let's make it rounded. So I'm just writing class rounded because we are working with Bootstrap, not CSS. So we don't have to write an extra codes, right? So if I go back, if I just save this, you can see here, I don't know if you can see this, but if I just maximize my, oh, 1 second. Yeah, so you can see here the corners are a little bit rounded enough, right? The corners are rounded, correct? So that's what your class rounded will do. Okay, there are like this many kind of things which we can do. So let's see if I'm writing here circle, which is a rounded circle, right? So let's save this. Let's check out what is happening. So you can see here it's just making my image coming as a circle, right? Similarly, we have a lot more. So we can also create a thumbnail. So removing this rounded circle, we can just write Img Thumbnail, right? If I save this, you can check out what is happening. So this is having a border, white color border, which is looking like a thumbnail. You can see here, this we were not getting before, but now we are getting it, right? So this is your thumbnail, what that will do. The next part is aligning images. So we can align 2 images both here and there. So let me just copy this. Let me mention one more image. So let's say I'm going to use here 2.jpg, and let's say I'm going to use here float start and float end. In this case, what's going to happen if I save this, going back to my web browser, you can see here. So this is basically giving me the images, one on the start and one on the end. Okay, just float start and end, and you can see how equally the spaces are on the left and right. Correct. So this is how it looks like. Now also we can do one more thing. We can make it come to the center, right? So to make our image come to the center, what I'll do is I'll just create one more image here. I'll just name it as 3.jpg, and will not write image thumbnail. Instead of that, we are going to write here mx auto d block. So mx auto, you must have understood, mx auto is nothing but margin auto, and margin auto we are going to give d block, that means display block. So it's a display block which we are putting. These all are nothing but the CSS, you can say a shorthand property which we are using in Bootstrap. So we are not using here any CSS command, but these are Bootstrap commands which is written inside CSS. That means in this file. In this file, these all commands are written in a short format so that we can directly use it. If I save this, let's check out what is happening. So you can look here. This is my second image which is coming here, okay? This one. And why is it getting down? Because my browser is on 70%. If I increase this, you can see what's happening. Okay, so display block is basically making the image a display block. Let's remove the display block and let's just write margin auto. So you can see here it's coming in this place. Okay, so let's say that in my code I'm not writing this image. Let's say I'm not writing this image and the first image. Just going to show you simply what mx auto will do. If I save this, you can see here this image is normally coming here, right? Now let's go back and here let's write here d block. So it's display block, right? So you can see here it is coming to the center now. Fine. So in that case also the same thing was happening, that one, this image was coming here and the other image was coming here. Because it was a display block, so it was not allowing the third image to come in the same place, because that's a whole block. If you go to inspect, you can see here this is the whole block, right? So you cannot put anything in that place, right? So that's why the image was getting down. Okay, let's try one more thing. So what I'm going to do here is image. I'm going to use 3.jpg itself. And here in the class, I'm going to just write, this is called as how you can make an image responsive. So I'm just using, like we use container fluid, I'm using image fluid. What container fluid does, it just takes the whole width of the web page and gives me a container, the whole container inside which only some of the things can be written as a heading or a header. So image fluid, what it will do is it will also do the same thing. So let's say if I'm saving this, I'm going back. So you can see here, this is the container fluid which is taking. If you can go to inspect, you can find that this whole thing is the container fluid. Can you see? This whole, the blue part also. In the blue part, the image is not coming, but still it is the container fluid, the image fluid, right? So this image can reach till here. So what I can do in this case, I can increase the width and height of my width, basically width of my image. So let's say I'm putting up here it as 1100. Hi Pranav, is Bootstrap used in industries? Yes, it is. It is. It's the most easiest way to create any particular website. And if the client demand is that, then yes, it can be used. So it's not like it is not used. Let's say width 1100 and let's say height as 500. It also depends on the company. It's not like every company will use Bootstrap. Every company doesn't use Java, right? So it also depends on the company what they are into. So let's save this. Let's move to our browser. So here you can see what is happening. So this is my width and height. If I now go here in the body, you can see here, this is my div which is taking the whole container. The whole image fluid is taken here. right? So this is what is your image fluid. It will take the whole width of the page. Fine. Come back to the code. That's what is all about images. Okay. Now let's move ahead to a different thing, which is an alert. So how you can give different alerts. Now here, basically we have the same idea, the same thing which we have in our text, in our border. The same thing is with alert also. It's just that in this time we use dot alert. Okay. So in dot alert, we can use different things to make it different colors. So we can use alert success, then alert info, alert warning, alert danger, alert primary, secondary, light, dark. These all numbers, these all names, you already know about it. So I'm not going to write it again, but I'm going to show you some of the examples on it. So let's say I'm removing this part, and here I'm just going to mention some alert messages. Okay. So let's say I'm going to write here strong, and let's say success, and here I'm just going to say this is gonna be in green color. Fine. Now I've not written anything. This container I'll just remove. I've not written anything. This is just a normal div, not used any of the classes. If I go back, you can see here what's coming up. Strong is making something bold. So that's what it is doing, making that particular thing as bold. And this is your 200%. Normal size is this much, right? Let's understand what it will do when I'll write alert. So where I have to write alert, in the div portion, I'm just going to mention the class, and I'm going to mention the alert. So let's say I'm going to just write here class and alert. Let's say because I've written success there, so I'm just going to mention the success alert. Okay. Let's save this. Let's check out what is happening. If you can see here, this is what it is giving me, right? And if it is not visible, let me just make it bigger. So you can see here, success is gonna be in green color, right? So this is not your background color. Background color will react differently. This is your alert. Okay. So sometimes what happens when you click something, it gives you a pop-up message kind of thing, right? That's what it is doing here. Okay. You can add events to this to make it much more. One second. Okay, fine. So let's move ahead and let's try to use different things here, right? So let's say what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use different links in between different pages or different sections. So let's say you're going to be in green color, and this green color, I want to give a link to this. Okay. So let's say I'm putting up here a link. I'm going to put up an href. Right. So this is an anchor tag which I'm using. And this anchor tag, what I'm going to use, I'm going to use a class. The class name is alert link. Okay. Now what this alert link will do, let's have a look out. Let's check out. So here, I can't close this here. I have to close it after the green color thing. First of all, let me just bring it down. And here I'm just going to give a fine. Let's save this. Let's check out what is happening. If you can see this, you can see what's happening, right? The green color is more green now, and it is looking like a link. That means you can click on that, right? Let's do one more thing. I'm going to just copy this thing again, and let's write something else right now. I have one div which I've already created, right? So I'm just copying that and I am pasting it again for different kind of messages. So let's say I'm going to put up here as warning. Just going to change this because this message will not look good in the warning. So warning, this is gonna be in which color? Red color. So just saving this. Acha, no, warning now. It is not in red, it's in yellow. So have a look. This is how it is coming. Same way we can do it for different colors. You already know what is it. It's info. Then we have dark, we have light, and all of those different things, right? So you can use all of those and you can try it out, right? And let's understand how do we, if we have any particular alert, right, then how can we close it? Let's say that one particular alert is coming here. This is one of the alert which is coming here, right? So we need to close this, we need to hide this. So how we are going to do that? So if you are going to do that in CSS, what you're going to do, you're going to have a cross sign here, and then once anybody click on this, so event will occur which will do the display none, right? So that's what will happen. Once you click on that cross button, display none will vanish this particular area. That's how you will do it in HTML and CSS. But let's now check it how we can do it using Bootstrap. So for this, what you have to do, you have to use one particular command which is alert. The spelling is too much complicated. Is dismissible. Okay, so this is what we have to use to give a cross button, right? And let's understand how we can do this. So let's say I have this alert success here. So in this itself, I'm going to use alert dismissible, and I have to also give a button which will be a cross button. So let's say I'm going to use here a type. I'm going to just say a button, and here I'm going to give a class. Now understand here again, I don't want to give any cross kind of thing. I just have one class which is button close, so I can use that. And to work with this, one second, let me just check out what is happening. Okay, let me give this here as well, and let me give this here as well. Let's save this. Let's check out if something is happening or not. So you can see here that I'm getting that close thing, but when I press this or click on this, nothing is happening. So why nothing is happening? Because one command is missing here. That command is should be written in the button, because once you close it, you get the closing sign with this, right? You get the button kind with this, right? But you did not say that once you click on that, what should happen. So to write that, we have to use one of the commands. So we have to use data bs dismiss. This we have to use, and we have to write alert here. So understand what you're doing here. In this one line itself, we have CSS, we have JavaScript, we have everything, right? We are creating the cross button using this, which could be done using CSS, and we are commanding it to close that alert thing. We are commanding it to dismiss the alert thing. That's what is the functionality which I'm giving here. So if I do this again in the next code also, let's save this, let's go back, and you can see here, this is I'm getting, if I click on this, it's gonna remove. If I click on this, it's gonna remove. If I reload again, it's gonna come back. Okay. Hi Deepak Kumar. There are some students who are not from North, so they want explanation in Hindi. They want explanation in English. I'll try to use English thing. Okay, I'll try to use sometimes Hindi, sometime English. So don't worry about that. But yeah, mostly it will be English, because majority of the people here are, not understanding Hindi. So fine. So this is what I'm getting here now. Okay, this is what is closing alerts. Fine. Now one more thing is there, which is animated alerts. So for animated alerts, what we'll do is, right here, I'm going to just write fade show. So fade show, what it will do is, it will when I'll click on the cross button, the whole alert thing will go off very slowly and with an animation. So let's save this, and first of all, let's check out how this is appearing. We have already seen this, and the fade show is applied to what? It is applied to the first one. So not to the warning one, right? So if the warning one is closed, let's check out how it is going, right? So I'm just clicking on it and it's going directly. Nothing is happening. But have a look at this one. It goes with the fade, right? Again, let me just show it. It goes directly, but it goes with a fade. So that's what is the animation which we have provided to our first alert thing. Okay, now that was all about alerts. Let's start with buttons now. So again, the same thing, we have the buttons, and buttons are also in the same way how we know about alert and table and all. So I'm going to use the same thing, and we are going to write the same code. So here, let me just comment this up, and I'm going to just write here class container empty3. To this, I'm going to add all my buttons. Okay, so to add the buttons, what do you do? Button type, we have to say that it's a button, and the next thing what you have to do is you have to write the class. In the class, again, you can use either simply button, or you can write give some of the other classes like primary, secondary, or whatever you want to do. So let's say, let me just give you an example. I'm going to copy this, going to paste this. Let's say in button, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write primary, right? Similarly, let me just mention it primary here. See, BTN will give you the button. BTN primary will give you the color of that button. Okay, that's why I've written twice. I'll just do 3, 4. That's it. So BTN primary, I wanted to show some of the things. Danger, success you have already seen, but just have a look, because I'll be using this kind of buttons again in one of the example. So that's why just understand how it is looking right now. And let's say I'm going to use dark. Okay, so let's have a look out now. I have saved the file, so let's see what's happening. You can see the basic one is the basic one, the way I have just given BT and nothing else. Primary one is the blue, the danger, the success, and the warning, and the dark. You must have seen this kind of colorful buttons in your web applications or websites. Where do we do get this kind of buttons, right? And the colors also denote something. So when you say primary means that these are used in normal buttons when a user wants to click something. Danger means don't want to do that, or red color always indicates danger, so that's why it's named as danger. But it doesn't mean that a danger button will be created. No, you can use this button for any reason. Just the name of this is danger because it's red in color. Success, again, it's green in color. You can use it for any purpose. There's nothing like if success is happening then only we have to use this. No, you can use it anywhere. So that's what is your normal buttons, how it can be used. But not only that, but we'll use it in a different ways. Okay, so let's try to do it in a different ways. So now here what we are going to do is we are going to use success, BTN success, but in a different format. Okay, so I already have these buttons. Let's give an HR here. Bhaiya, as I have zero knowledge of HTML, CSS and JavaScript, can I start directly from Bootstrap? Thing-based, don't do that, because you will not be able to understand any of the things. Like let's say I'm writing here class equal to BTN primary, right? You won't be understanding what is class here. Okay, because this class concept is there in CSS, and what is type equal to button, that you will not understand because this is there from HTML. So if I'm writing a code here, you won't be able to understand anything. Again, let's say that you're understanding these all things. What is MT3 you won't be able to understand because it is margin top, and you will just not be clear about what is margin, what is container, what is this class, what is div here. So for all these things, you need to understand HTML and CSS first, right? Don't worry, because already these things are there in the playlist. You can go ahead and watch it, like maybe one video or two videos per day. When you do it, you will be able to understand slowly what are these things, because I've explained in a very a decent manner, so you can easily understand what is that, right? So go ahead and just try it out. You will be able to, you will be able to understand everything, and then come back to Bootstrap. Okay, 9 button. First of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put up an href, and I'm just going to say it as empty right now. I'm going to put up a class, let's say btn, let's say btn success, and let's say I'm going to put a button here. Okay, next I'm going to create a button again, which is as type as button, and here I'm going to give a class. Let's say the class name is btn success again, and we are going to close this with named as button. So this is a button which I've given. This is an anchor tag which I've given. Now let's give some more things. So let's see if I'm giving here it as input right now. Okay, so in the input, let's say I have written type button, and input maybe will give the same class, which is btn success. And here we are going to type value, and let's say I'm putting here input button. Understand that these are input type button. It's not a button, the type is button. So input button, we're going to do the same thing again for a different thing. So let's say I'm going to put up here it as submit. And this one I'll just write it as submit button. And the next I'm going to just type it as reset. These three are the types, right? We have button, submit, and reset. So that's what I'm using here. We have reset, and we are just going to write here reset button. Fine, let's save this and let's check out what is happening in my browser. Once again, have I not given the success? Container empty3 btn success button type button. Success का spelling गलत, right? Yeah. Okay. Now have a look what's happening. So if I go back, what do you expect? What should happen? Obviously, if it is all btn success, everything will be green in color, and you can see this is a normal anchor tag button. So you can still use this. It's gonna work. It's just that this is an A tag. This is a normal button. This is an input type button. This is a submit button, and this is a reset button. So there's no difference. Whatever will happen here, everything is gonna work. And this border which you are getting, right? This border which you are getting is not given by you. It's happening because of the class which you have used. Okay, so border is also there in that. And if you look at this button, when you click on it, it's an anchor tag, right? So whenever you click a particular link, it just clicks once, right? So if you can see here, it just clicks once, loads the page, and then done. This is an input button. It doesn't do anything. These all are nothing but your input buttons. So in all the cases, either it is a submit button or a reset button or a input or a normal button or an anchor tag, all of these will work in the same manner. Fine. Okay, so we have seen how we can change the border color, the background color of the button, right? We have seen how these buttons are there, correct? Which are having the background color changed, right? So now what we are going to do is we are going to write some of the codes in which only the border color will change, nothing else. So again, let's give an HR here, and let's write the next code here itself. So in this one, what we are going to do is we are going to do only the border of the button color change, not the background. So for that we have another kind of classes. So it's the same thing, btn primary, but in between we'll use one command. So let's see what we can do here. So let's say button type button, and to this we are going to give a class. So let's say in the class I'm going to use btn dash outline dash primary. Okay, this is one word which you have to use extra, and let's say I'm just going to write here primary, and the button is getting closed, right? So in the similar manner I'm going to just create some more buttons for different things. So let's say I'm just going to write here danger, success, and warning. Similarly I'm going to put it up here. Okay, let's save this, and now let's check out what is happening. If you can see here, we are not getting the main background color changed, but only the outline is getting changed. So that's what is your outline. Okay, button btn dash outline dash primary. But when you're hovering, you can get that thing, you can get the background color as well. Fine, so this is what is outline. So these things you need to remember, all of these things, whatever I'm telling you in image or in btn or in button, right? All these things you need to remember because these are used in several other places directly, so you have to use those directly. Okay, and next thing we are going to use button sizes. So let's understand how does that work. We have different sizes which you can give. Let's say that you want to use a small button or a big button or a large button, so we have different cases to give, different classes to give. So here let's say I have a button type equal to button itself, and in this I'm going to just use one class. One second. This class, let's say I'm going to use here btn primary, but this btn primary I'm going to just give here btn lg. What is lg? Lg is large. Okay, so if I save, if I move to the code, I'm just going to write large here, and I'm going to copy this, going to paste it, and here this is by default. So I'm not going to give any particular command here for my size. So let's keep it as it is. And here I'm going to just give SM, which will have small size. Right? So here I'm just going to write here small. So let's save this. Let's check out what is happening in my browser. If you look here, we are getting a large, we are getting a default. This default is nothing but the size of all these buttons by default size. But this is the large button and this is the small button. Okay. So we are going to use the same things, LG or SM. Fine. So this is how we got our large, default and small. Fine. Now let's take a break. Let's do something. Let's do some codings in HTML and CSS, and then we are going to come back in Bootstrap. Okay. So Bootstrap we have understood till buttons now, right? So we're going to understand some more things later on, not now, because I want to show you some things which will relate to Bootstrap later on. So that's why let's create the project for now, and then we are going to move back to our Bootstrap again. Okay, so I'm just going to open this. Let's open the folder where we were keeping all our project. Yeah, so we created these all things, right? We created counter, drag and drop, full screen bar, hamburger menu, and landing page, nav bar, sidebar, validation. These all things we created. So the next things which we are going to create is really interesting. So let's understand what we are going to do. Okay, so here what we are going to do is, first of all, we are going to do the image over effect. Okay, so I'm going to just create one folder here. Fine. And to this, I'm just going to add one HTML page. One HTML page will work enough. So just going to write here image over effect. Okay, and we will start writing the code here. Okay, now to do image over effect is nothing but how you over your mouse into the image and something changes into the image, right? So we need 4 images here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put down all my 4 images from the project in my particular folder. Let me just do it. Code projects, image over effect. Yeah, so all the 4 images are now, you can see here, it's all here, right? So we are going to use these images to do the coding for that. Okay, now first of all, what you're going to do here is, let's remove that, and here I'm going to just create div. Okay, let's say class, and let's say container. To this container, I'm going to put up, again, do not be in the bootstrap field, come out of the bootstrap, because now we are into CSS. So there's no bootstrap. This container is not the bootstrap thing. Here we have not imported any, or we have not used any CDN links of bootstrap. So this is not bootstrap. This is a normal HTML and CSS. Okay, so div class container, and we are just going to mention all the images without any particular width or height. Just going to use this. Let's close it. We are going to do the same thing 4 times because we need 4 images. Let's say 2, let's say 3, let's say 4, right? And let's save this. So obviously what we are going to get here is all the 4 images at one place, right? So let's just open it with live server, and you can see here that we are getting 4 images, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? But these 4 images, we want to keep it in one of the portions of our web page, where if we hover, then something will happen, right? So let's go back to our code and let's write the CSS for it, because that's the main concept here, right? So in the title, I'm going to just create one tag, which is a style, and here we are going to start giving the CSS. So let's say star, and here I'm going to just give here margin. As you know, in the beginning you should give margin and padding as 0, so that everything comes in the corner. And because it's an over effect, so all the images will be in a box, so I'm going to use border box. Okay, then I'm going to use body. In the body, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use display flex, because I want to use images, all the 4 images like this, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So to do this, we need flex, right? Because if the images are not flexed, what's going to happen when the divs are not flexed? What's going to happen? It's not going to come in the same way how I want. If you want it in a horizontal or vertical manner, we need to use display flex. So display flex, and I'm going to use justify content center, so that it comes in the center. Same thing I'll do for align items. I'll just make it center. Justify content is for the row, so that for the row it comes in center, and for the align items is for the column. The columns also comes in the center. So everything will be in the center now. For the height, I'm just going to give here 100 VH, right? This for the body, so it is applied to everything, right? Let's save this. Let's check out what is happening in my web page. So you can see here there is no margin, there is no padding, and everything is coming in the center. Where is my, 1 second? Okay, I did display flex, so one of the image is now not shown. Okay, let's move to the code. Fine. Now to the container. So container is having all the 4 images, right? Container is having all the 4 images. So we need to display flex here as well, because this will obviously show the property of flexing. Width I'm going to give here 450 pixel, and height also I'm going to give 450 pixel. Again, this is the container width, not the image width. Okay. Next, I'm going to give here justify content. I'm just going to give here space between. Now, space between means that if you have 4 images, in between all the 4 images, there will be a space. Some white spaces will be there in between. So that's what we have written here. And we are going, this all things we have already taught you. So if you do not know what's happening here, please go ahead and check out the earlier videos. Flex wrap, I'm going to wrap it. Okay. Display flex, flex wrap, no wrap, wrap. You already know these things, so I do not have to again tell it to you. So if you look at this, just saving it. So right now nothing is changing. It's just that we are getting the 4th image as well, and there's a space here. Right now the code is not completed, so that's why it's not looking appropriate. We have already given width and height, but still there's no change. So we're going to look out what is the proper code for this. Now the image is literally big, so we need to write some codes for our image. So dot container img. I hope the container spelling is correct. Yes. So now image here, we'll write its width as 49%. And we are going to give cursor as pointer, so that anybody moves the cursor to the image, it becomes as a pointer. We're going to give opacity as 0.5. That means the image will be only half visible in the beginning. The image will only be half visible in the beginning. Then I'm going to give a transition to everything dot 4 seconds. Okay. Now again, this transition is not going to happen because I've not written the transition. What is the transition? Let's check out what is happening now. So you're getting 4 images. This is the display flex property. If you're not being able to understand what is happening, then let's go to inspect and let's check out. So if you look here, this is the container which, one second. This is the container in which we have the width and height 450 and 450. You can see that it's also showing you, and in the code also I have written here width 450, height 450, right? So that's the container width, which is 450, 450. Then inside that we have given 4 images, 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's how it is placed here. And why is it placed like that? Because the rows also we have given justify alignment, justify content center, and the columns also we have written align and center. So 2 of them are here, 2 of them are down. Okay. And because it is space between, so there is a space between. Okay. Now that we have written the code for container image, let's try to give the command or the transition effects to it, because we have written transition all, but we have not written the actual transition which should be there, right? So I'm going to just write here container, and let's say I'm just going to write here image over. Okay, so once anybody will hover into those images, what's gonna happen? It's gonna start the animation. So transform, rotate, it should rotate 15°, right? And scale to 1.1. Okay, because it was opacity 0.5, so scale is 1.1, and opacity will increase to complete 1, so that the whole image can be visible now. So opacity is 1. Also we are going to change its border radius to 40 pixel, and we are going to use Z index as 10, and box shadow as 0, 0, 220 pixel, RGBA, and I'm going to just use here 0, 0, 0.1, right? So just have a look what's going to happen. Now if I go back, you can see here when I'm hovering, when I'm hovering, then 5 things are happening. First, it is rotating to 15 degree. It is scaling to 1.1. Border radius is 40 pixel. Opacity is 1. That means transparency is now very much clear. Z index 10 means you can see the image is overlapping. Can you see? The another image is behind. If I circle this, the image is now, that image is now behind. If I circle this, that image is now behind. If I circle this, that image is now behind. This is Z scale 10, Z index 10. And also box shadow. So if you can see, there's a very little bit shadow which is coming from the border. You can see here this shadow, right? A very less amount of shadow is there. This 0.1. That's why if I increase this, so you can see here 0.8 I have given. This is how the shadow is coming, right? So I've given 0.8 here. Fine. This is what is one of the application, which is image hover effects. So you can understand how cool is it looking right now, right? You can use these in your products whenever you are creating any of the web page or e-commerce website. You can use this to just apply this in your web pages, right? So this is what you can do. Let's close this. Let's move to another kind of project, and please do let me know if you have any doubts or you want to see the code. I'm just going to open this code for now, just for some time, so that you can have a look at it. And if you want to drink some water, you can drink some water also. Please do let me know if you have any doubts. So this was one of the project which I wanted to show you. We have 2 more projects, and after that we are going to move back to Bootstrap. Okay. So image over effect is done. Okay, great. Let's create another one. So after image over, we have one more. Which one we should do? Yeah, this one, because I did tell you that we will create a product card in Bootstrap soon. So before creating product cards using Bootstrap, you should understand how to create product or pricing cards using HTML and CSS. So that's what we are going to do now. In this, we need only HTML and CSS, not JavaScript. So I'm just going to create a file. Okay. Let me just close this. Let me open this and let's write here. Creating price cards. Okay. We'll first create only one and then we'll just duplicate that. Okay. So pricing cards, HTML. Okay, so here we have to use 2 links. One is the font or some icons. We are going to use some icons. We are going to use that. So I'll place the font or some CDN link here later on. But let's first try to do at least the body part. Okay, let me just open it in the browser so that you can see the output as well. So here it is. This is the page in which I'm creating the price cards. As soon as I write any HTML or CSS, I'm going to keep on moving into that and I'm going to show you that. Okay. So let's move to our code and creating price cards. Let's create that. Now in the body, I'm going to first of all create a div element and I'm just going to say here it as container. Okay. And then I'm going to create div and I'm going to just say class and I'm going to just say here card. So inside container div, we have a class div, card div, inside which we'll create the first card. So in the first card, we need let's say basic, the basic card. This is the basic card, right? I've just named it as basic. And also let's say I'm giving here it as the other details we will write in this div. Okay, so again, it's a first is the container. Inside that we have the first card, so that's your basic card. And then we have the details which we'll write here. In the details, I'm just going to mention here ul, going to mention here li, and one by one I'm just going to mention all the different details. The first is fast check. I'll tell you what is fast check. It is just going to give you a green color tick. That's what is fast check. Right now it will not work because I've not used font or some min.css in my head. I've not given that link, so that's why it will not be there. But in I, after that, I'm going to just write here. Let's say the card is for some clothing brand, washable. Okay, just writing a normal anything. Do not check on that. So let me just copy the font or something. And also I have used one Poppins font family. That's also we are going to use. So I've written this washable. Let's write something else. So now let's try to use some 5 things. And here we will change this to items. Not items, sorry. The cross part. The cross part comes with times. Okay. Washable. And let's say it is cotton. Let's say it is cold place. Dry wash. Steam. Let's run Steam. Okay, fine. So this is what I have done. So my UL is completed, right? And my div is also done. That is my details is also done. Now I'm going to add some of the pricing details. So what I'm going to write here is, let's say paragraph. Let's say I'm giving $1 here, right? And in this dollar, we are going to also use span. In the span, I'm going to use here the amount. Let's say $30, and I'm going to just write here per piece. Okay, so this is what is the thing. Also, I'm going to just write here a button. Let's say I'm going to write here subscribe, and completing the div, right? So this is one of the card which I've created. Okay, like this I can create 3 cards. This will be the second card. Let's copy this and we can just directly paste it here. This will become the second card. Okay, we'll change the different items, but right now I'm just keeping it as it is. Again, the third card. Fine. So these are the third cards, 3 cards which are created. Let's say I'm just changing these now. Intermediate and advanced. Okay. The other things I'll just keep it as it is. And let's save this. So let's go back to my browser. Let's check out what is happening till now. So if you see here, this is what I'm getting. I'm getting basic. I'm getting the list. I'm getting the ticks and the cross, the subscribe button, and for intermediate and advanced also the same things, right? Now let's start designing the CSS part of it. The CSS part of it will be a little bit tricky. So please try to understand what will be done there. So let's say in the beginning, I'm going to start with body, and in the body, I'm just going to give here a height. So let's say the height is 100 VH. Next, I'm going to just display flex. And align items, I'm going to do center. So again, we know that everything will be in the center, just like in the previous thing we did. And I'm going to also write justify content center. Okay, so everything will be in the center, right? Let's try it out in my web page and let's see what's happening. So everything will come in the center as said. So everything is coming in the center. Again, you can see this not scrolling above because rows and column both are centered. So everything is coming in the center right now, right? Uh, we will make this different. We'll change this particular area and we'll bring this like this, like card 1, card 2, card 3. We'll do that. So now, before that, we have to give one more thing that I forgot. Margin 0, padding 0, and we'll also give here box sizing, border box. Fine. Let's start with the container. So dot container, I'm just going to mention here it as width 100%. The next I'm going to just write display flex because that's my container. Container has to be in flex. If your body is in flex, justify content, let's say space evenly. Space between, space evenly, you must be knowing the difference. Space between gives you a same kind of space in all of the spaces. Space evenly distributes the spaces only in the between section, only in the middle section. So let's save this. Let's check out. So you can see here what's happening. Here also we have the same space. Here also we have the same space. Here also we have the same space, and here also we have the same space. Right? So this is space evenly, and we got 3 cards. But still, this is not designed. It's just that the content is written here, right? So let's go back to the code and let's design, or let's give some colors to this. Okay. So what you're going to do is we are going to come up to the card now, and we're going to give some things to the card now. Okay. So to the card, I'm going to just write here position. Let's say relative. Right. And I'm going to give a width. This is for the card. Okay. The card will be created. A rectangular or a border radius card will be designed. So I'm just doing that. So I'm going to use here width 300 pixel. Okay, and I'm going to use the height. So let's say I'm going to use here 420 pixel, and I'm going to use the background. Let's say I'm going to use here white itself. Now I'm going to use a box shadow. So back shadow again will have some of the values, not that much, 20 pixel, and RGBA value I'm going to just give 0.3. Fine. And next I'm going to use border radius 10 pixel, then display flex, next flex direction, I'm just going to keep it column, and justify content, space evenly, and the next I'm going to give her padding left 20 pixel, and the next I'm going to give a font family. Font family I already have taken, which is Poppins. So I'm going to use the Poppins, and also I'll be using sans serif. Okay, after font family I will make it overflow hidden. Okay, so these are the things which we have written in our card. So let's see how my card is appearing with these all things. So there's a height, there's a width, there's a position, there's a background color, and all of these things, right? Let's save this. Let's check out what is happening. So if you look here, this is what we have created. Okay, so we have the background color white, we have the width and height given to it, we have a position which is relative, and we have display flex direction column, and justify content space evenly, padding left 20 pixel. Padding left 20 pixel means it moves here, it moves to this side. That's why it moved to that side. Okay. Fine. So if any doubts, please have a look in the code. Okay, perfect. Now let's begin. Let's write the code for after and before. So I'm going to write here card after, comma, card before. Okay. So after and before content, I'll just put it up as normal, and then I'm going to give here as position absolute. And the next I'm going to use here border radius, let's say 50%. And the next what I'm going to do here is background. In the background color, I'm going to just give here a normal background color, let's say red. Fine. Now I'm going to give an opacity. So let's say I'm giving an opacity of 0.3. Fine. Card after and card before. Again, this was also there in your menu bar. So the menu bar 3 lines is designed using card before and card after, right? In the same manner, we are doing the same things here. So if I go back, I have not saved the file. Let's save the file, and you can see here that we have the card before and card after as well. Okay, so let's do the code now. The next codes which we are going to do here is we'll write special codes for card after and card before. So card after, I'm just going to write here top minus 20%, going to give here right, let's say again minus 20%, and width, let's say 200 pixel, and height, let's say 200 pixel. Okay, so this is card after. The same way we are going to do the card before as well. So I'm just going to drop here, let's write card before, and here we are going to mention the different numbers. So minus 15, here I'm just going to tell it as minus 13, and 160, and in this one I'm going to again give 160. Let's save this. Let's go back to my file, and you can see here what is happening. Okay, so this is card before and card after, right? Card before and card after. Let me just go to inspect. You can see here this is your before. Okay, the before is coming here, and that's the red color which is having the opacity as 0.3. okay, and this is your after. So in after, what is happening, we have the top and right corners, and we have width and height also. So this is how you can give some design to your web pages when you don't have any particular image to work with, right? So that's how we can give this. Also, you can see here how that circle came. So we gave border radius 50%, right? Border radius 50% means that it's gonna be a circle, and we have given the background color to be red. That's why this was coming as like that. Okay, so I hope there's no doubt in this. I'll just show you the browser again. You can see here this red one, the dark red one is the first card before, and then the next one is the card after. Okay, so it's just taking one width and height, it's taking a background color, making it as a circle and putting it up there. Okay, so every card after is having this code, and every card before is having this code. Okay, now let's close this. Let's complete the code for this. So now we have some small things, like we have the H3. So I'm going to just write here card H3, and for card H3 I'm going to just write here a color. So let's say the color which I'm giving here is a fade of color. So let's say I'm going to just put up here at 250, 245 and 150 and 150 as well. So that is something like this. Okay, let me just give it here a larger value. Okay, so I've given a color here, and let's move ahead. Card H3 is done. So let's write the code for details UL. In the details UL, you want its width to be 200 pixel, and we want its height to be, this is the UL part, the LI UL part, where we have written some of the cases for our clothes, right? It's washable or not, those all things we have written. List style, I'm just going to get none. So it's going to remove all the dots and all from the picture. And then we are going to have display flex also here. And then next we are going to use here flex direction. Let's say I'm going to use here the column. And now I'm going to use here justify content. Justify content, we are going to use space between itself. Fine. Let's save this. Let's check out how my list is getting appeared. So you can see here all the dots and all are gone, and we can get this kind of page here. Okay, so this is what is your details UL part. Right now we have to write for the link, so that is your li, right? So dot details UL li, and in details UL li we have to again write here display flex. The next we have to write align items, center, and font size 15 pixel. Right, this is your li part. So let's understand whether it is showing it or not. So you can see here. Okay, this is the li part. So it's perfectly fine now. Let's move ahead and let's complete this code. So display UL li is done. Now we need some more code, some important codes. So let's check out that. The first one is the I. So you can see in the details we have some I tags, right? So you're going to use that. Now how we're going to do that is we're going to use here dot details, and we're just going to write I here, and let's say we are going to say display block, right? So details I is working as a display block with the width of 30 pixel. Right, this details I is nothing but your emoticons, or whatever we say, the symbols, right? So let's go back, let's save this, and you can see it's displayed as block, and the width is 30 pixels. Okay, so it's much bigger and much more clearer, the ticks and all, the ticks and crosses. Let's go back, and now we are going to write something for my different I classes, right? Okay, so I'm just going to give different colors to it. So dot path check, let's say I'm just going to give here a color green. Let's say far check, so not far check we have already given far times. So in far times, let's give the color as orange, and we are going to give dot card paragraph. So in the card we have the paragraph. Let's say give it as font size 14 pixel. This is the card paragraph, this one, which is writing it as 14 pixel. And the next what I'm going to do is here is span. So in the card, in the paragraph we have span, right? We used one of the span inside my card, right? So that's what here it is, right? Span 30. So that's what we are going to put up. Card p span. Here I'm going to just put up font size. I'm going to just say 45 pixel, and font weight. So let's say I'm going to give here 600, and the color I'm going to just give here it as a blue color. Okay, let's save this. Let's check out what is happening. If you can see here, the card p span, right? That means the 30 or the numbers or the prices, we are making it as blue and much more bigger. And card p is font size 14 pixel. Card p is this one. So you want to make it font size bigger. Far times we have made it color orange, right? So let's save this. Let's check out. So you can see here, this is what is getting to, this is what is showing me. Okay, let's come back. So we have done with the card P, but there's only one thing left. So if I show you my browser, you can see there's only one thing left, which is your button. Can you see the subscribe button, right? So that's what we require. Let me do something here. Let's remove this blue and let's just write red, because you can see here that what looks more attractive. Okay, so we are going to use the same things. Here I'm just going to give a button ka code. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just write here button, and I'm going to just say here width, and let's say 260 pixel, right? I'm going to give a height. Let's say I'm going to give here at 40 pixel, and font size I'm going to give here it as 17 pixel, and the next I'm going to give here it as border none. Okay, going to give a background color. So let's say background color, I'm going to give here it as blue, and I'm going to also give a color. So let's say I'm giving color as white, and font family I'm going to use again Poppins, and let's say I'm using here so sans serif. Okay, and box shadow, the last part, so 0, 9 pixel, 14 pixel, RGBA. Here I'm going to give 0, 0, 0, 0.3. So this is for the button, the subscribe button. Okay, subscribe button background color is blue and the color is white. So let's see what's happening. If I go back to my page, this is how my page is looking like. Okay, and you can see if I stretch it, you can see how amazing it looks like, right? I don't know if it is in 100%. Right now it is in 100%, and you can see how cool is it looking. Fine. So this is what is your program for your image over effect and the pricing cards. If any questions, please do let me know, and just watch this particular content here. Okay, any doubts, please do let me know. Other than CSS, Bootstrap, any particular question you have, please let me know. Okay, if you have any other questions, because I want to take break from CSS and Bootstrap, right? Uh, let's not again continue with CSS and Bootstrap. Let's take a break and just ask some questions. Let's try to figure out you know your doubts, and let's tell it to other friends as well. Please do let me know if you have any issues or any kind of situation which you are not being able to uh, which are not knowing how to handle, or any such kind of thing. So you have done pricing codes. There's only one code which is left, which is morphing. So I'll do the morphing also, but not now. Just let's create a morphing folder. Anybody, any doubt, please do let me know. So this is the morphing effect. Morphing effect means in CSS you can have morphing effects. Morphing means from one text it can change to any other kind of uh, text. Once you teach any topic, there won't be any doubt, bro. There can be. There are some people who will not understand some of the things. So that's why I'm asking. Not even doubt from here, maybe doubt from any particular part. And if you have any questions, let's say you are demanding some language tutorial, right? So I can start a different playlist for different time slot. Maybe at morning 10 a.m. I can come and I can teach that Java, Python, SQL, Oracle, MongoDB, any particular language which you want me to teach. You can just tell me and I'll be able to take it. Okay. So please do let me know about those kind of things. So title, I'm just going to write here morphing effect. And here in the body, I'm going to type down some of the code. So let's say div class, let's say container. Okay. And going to just write some of the things. Yes, Sahil, React.js will be there. I know everybody's waiting for that. But as soon as you won't understand all the concepts in frameworks, in the small frameworks, you won't be able to understand React. So covering all the basic things. First, I've already done. It's just gonna take 10 days and I'll be taking React. So do not worry. I'm gonna come back and take React. Right now, I'm just completing Bootstrap, Tailwind, and jQuery. jQuery will not take much time. Just these three things, if it is getting completed, I'm going to take React.js. Okay, Jitender is writing Node.js and MongoDB. Node.js, after React, my plan is to cover Mern stack, which is Mongo Express Node.js. So yes, after React, let's do Node.js, right? Because half of the node you will be able to understand in React, not half, at least 20%. So we'll do node and then we'll do MongoDB. Okay. I have very good explanations on MongoDB. We'll try to get you that. Anything else? Please do let me know any particular subject which you guys are facing difficulty or not understanding. jQuery will still be used after 2-3. No, Sahil, it will not be used. jQuery is gonna die soon, but because it's a JavaScript framework and many times in interview people do ask whether you have used jQuery or not. So to give the answer, you should be knowing how jQuery works. That's it. Otherwise, jQuery will not be there now. Okay. Jitendra, Node.js. Yeah, it means after December. Like Node.js and MongoDB will be happening after December only. Before December, my plan is to cover React and all, and to do some projects also based on that, because many people want React things, right? So that's what I'm planning to cover first, and then maybe by next year we are going to start with our Node.js and MongoDB. Okay. Not now. This December is already planned. December we have a lot of things. So even I'm not sure whether I'll be able to take it or not, because December we have by the ending of the month we have a lot of things. We have Christmas and we have New Year. So I'll be on leave. So from in the beginning itself I need to complete everything, right? Okay, so you can see here what I've done. This is a morphing effect. I don't know if you won't be knowing what is morphing effect. It's just that one text will appear and then it will disappear suddenly, and then another text will appear suddenly. Okay, it's called as morphing effect. And what you've done is we have just created one container inside which four names we have written: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Bootstrap. And let's save this. Let's go to style.css and let's start putting up the morphing effect का CSS वाला code. Okay, again it's again not very hard. It's very important basically, because in why I wanted to show you this morphing effect wala code, because here we are using nth child. Okay, now what is nth child? That is really important to understand. Okay, because in most of the interview questions of CSS, people can ask you like, what is this nth child, right? So to understand nth child, you should be understanding how it works, correct? Also, I did explain image over effect, right? And in image over effect, I use this rotate thing, right? So the main motto of showing you this this particular code, this particular example, was to show you that how once an image is rotating, how you are using z-index on that, so that if the image is rotating, how the back image will be hidden, and if this image is rotating, then how this image will get hidden. So that's what I was showing you in this one. I also did one more, right? Pricing cards were very obvious. I want to do this because once you will create the web pages, e-commerce web pages, you have to create pricing cards. So, or the product cards, or you also call it as shopping cards, right? Something like that. So these were very important. That's why I want to discuss this. So let's start creating this style.css for the morphing effect to be happening. So let's try to understand what all things we have to do here. First of all, let me just open the browser and let me just open this morphing effect wala code in the live server. Yeah, so this is what is written till now. Nothing I have done. Hi Jitendra. In MongoDB, if you know basic CRUD operations, it will be enough for the interview. Jitendra, in SQL or MongoDB, even if you know the basic things, it will be enough for interview, because in SQL or in databases, they are going to just ask you how to write a query. Okay. In SQL, mainly they will tell you how to write a query. If they will just give one database and they'll just say that I want this data or that data, then how you're going to write the query. What are DML, what are DCL, what are TCL, and what are DDL statements? What is the difference between truncate, drop, and delete? These are the questions which they'll ask you. How to find the second highest salary from this table. These are the normal questions which they'll ask you. In MongoDB, they are going to just ask you what is NoSQL, what is the use of NoSQL, what is the difference between SQL and NoSQL, which one do you prefer, and in MongoDB, how to write the code, what is collection, what is document, how to write a query in MongoDB, because we don't have any queries in MongoDB. We basically write the commands in our command line to fetch the records from the MongoDB. So In MongoDB, there's no table. In SQL, we have tables. In MongoDB, we have just documents which we create, and the documents are in JSON format, which actually saves the data. So these all things you need to explain to them, and this will be very basics, not hard. Basically, the MongoDB and SQL hard questions are asked for data analyst positions, and those for those people, not for you guys, database engineers, database administrations. For those people, database most difficult questions will be asked, not to you guys. So you have to just understand the normal basic concepts and it will be enough for you. मतलब इतना भी मतलब थोड़ा बहुत जानना, ये नहीं कि मतलब एकदम छोड़ ही दिए हैं, बहुत ही बेसिक आता है. एटलीस्ट सम बेसिक नॉलेज यू शुड हैव अबाउट दैट, कि वो काम कैसे करता है, डिफरेंस क्या है दोनों में, all those things you should be knowing. So font family, I'm just using a very unique kind of font family, which is Predoka 1. Okay, which is cursive. Okay, this is my body. Let's put down the container. These codes are very basic ones. You need to understand the nth child wala code, because that is something which is really interesting. So here I'm just giving the container. The height container is nothing but inside which all the 4 letters or the 4 words are written. So this container I'm just giving some height, some width, and you can see height and width is 100. So that means it is taking the whole width of the web page and whole height of the web page, correct? So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm going to also write here background, let's say black, and display flex. Why display flex? Because it's a morphing effect. That means if I've written 4 words in my program, those all 4 words will be in the same place, and in the same place I want it to come one by one. I don't want it to come like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap. No, I want it to come like HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript in the same place itself, correct? So display flex, put everything inside, put everything in the center, and then flex direction. Again here, flex direction when you're writing, understand that this should be a column, because all the elements will be at one place. So I want it to be a column, and I want to align items in the center. So everything will be in the center now. Let's check out it. So I'm going to go back to my browser. Let's save this. And you can see here, it's all black. Right now you can't see the text because I have not reached till the word class. You can see here, there's a word class which I have used. I have not written the CSS for that. So in that time, I'm going to give the background color, and you'll be able to see the text also in the middle. Right now text is there. You can see here, it is there all in the center. Okay, but it's one by one. So we need to appear it overlap, right? One above another. That's what we need to do. So let's do that. Okay, so let's write the code for the word now. So for word, what we are going to do here is, let's say max width 100% and letter spacing. These are some of the things for the words itself, nothing else, just making it attractive. Font size 8 rem, and position we are going to give here absolute. You must have noticed whenever we are writing position absolute, we have to write position relative, right? So you can understand how it is done. Container is the container inside which the words will be presented. So the container, which is the parent element, is position relative to the word which is presented in the container. So understand, you must have seen this many a times. I have used relative and absolute together itself whenever a parent and a child relationship is there. So please do not get confused, and in your interviews, many of my friends have got stuck in this kind of questions, that what is the difference between position absolute, position inherit, and position relative. And they get confused by explaining. They know the fact, they know the answer, but to explain it to the interviewer, they get confused. So try to practice the answers again and again for this, because this question will be asked to you if you are going for a front-end developer. So keep your answers prepared for this. Do not get confused there itself in the front of interviewer, because you're not going to get hired if you're doing that. So I'm just adding one animation also here, which is the animation name as is word, and it is of 15 seconds and it is infinite and it's easy in out. Okay, so it's gonna happen automatically. It's gonna happen every 15 seconds. No, it's gonna happen infinite times for 15 seconds, right? And we'll write the word animation also, but let's first check out what is happening in my browser. So you can see here, let me just make it 100%. Yeah, it is 100%. So you can see all the text, the JavaScript. Let me show you. This is the Bootstrap. I can't select anything else because Bootstrap is in the first place. Behind that we have JavaScript, we have HTML, and we have CSS as well. But right now it's all in the same place. Now what we want is, we want to produce the animation so that each of the text animates one by one and comes up, right? So that's what we are going to do now. Let's come to the code. And here is the time that you need to understand that how this nth child works, okay? Now understand what is nth child. If I'm writing here word, right? If I'm writing here word, and if I'm just saying here nth child, right? And I'm mentioning here 1, right? So what is the meaning of this? Let's understand. So dot word is here, right? Dot word is here. Nth child means the very first child of it. The very first child of it is HTML. So for HTML, we are giving an animation delay. Right? Animation delay of minus 15 seconds. This is what I am doing. Now you can say that we can directly write dot word and then the name of the this, right? But there's nothing else. We, instead of class word, we do have anything else. We don't have anything else. So if this is div and it is having the element HTML, then we call it as nth child. Okay, so for word, for the class word, the nth child is HTML. Similarly, we are going to do this for all 4 of them. Okay, and I'm going to just change the seconds. So 3 seconds, then 7 seconds, then 11, and then 15, right? Now, the thing is, in animation, we always give the keyframes, right? So the keyframe is left now. 1 second, let me show you what is happening in my code right now. So if you look here, this is not running because for animations, we have not given what animation should happen. We have just given that animation delay should be there of 15, 11, 7, and 3. But we are not doing the animation. So now we have to write the code to do the animation. So for doing that, you have to add the keyframes. So I'm adding the keyframes. The animation name is word. I'm going to use that. And then I'm going to say in 0% and in 5% and in 100%, we want one animation. So what do you want here is, we want one filter to be attached, which is a blur. Understand, it's a morphing effect. So we are using blur to make my text blurred. Okay. Also, its opacity will be 1 in 0, 5, and 100. Okay. In between, let's say 20% and 80%. So you can see it's evenly distributed, right? So in 20 and 80%, what do you want? We want opacity to be 0 so that it should not be visible. Anything should not be visible. And also we are going to make it filter blur 35 pixel. right? So one is blur 0 pixel and one is blur 35 pixel. In 0 pixel, what's going to happen? In blur 0 pixel means the text will not be blurred, and opacity will make sure that the whole uh, original color of the text should be shown. After that, after some time, after some animation delay, what's going to happen? Opacity will become 0. That means the whole actual color of the text will disappear and it will become blur slowly. Okay, let's save this and let's check out what's happening in my. So you can see here, CSS is coming and then it's getting blurred. Then again, JavaScript is coming, it's getting blurred. And then again, Bootstrap is coming, right? So you must have seen this many times in many of the web pages also, but let's see how it is happening. So basically, keyframes are working here, animations are working here. So in 0, 5 and 100%, this blur effect is happening where the blur is 0 pixel. So there's no blur, only the opacity. This is this one, okay? Opacity is 1 here. Now opacity was 0, again opacity is 1. Again opacity is 0, again opacity is 1. Again opacity is 0. So that's how it is working, okay? How much numbers you will give in the percentage area, that much time it will take to happen. Okay, so this is what is your nth child, this is what is your keyframes. I hope you got this and I hope you understood how it is working. Please do let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll move to the Bootstrap and we'll continue with Bootstrap. Okay, I'm going to close the output of Morphing Effect and we are going to go back to my Bootstrap now. 1 second. So we did large, default and small in Bootstrap. We'll continue from there. I am going to open that same folder in which we were doing the Bootstrap part. This is the Bootstrap folder where we're doing the code, right? Any questions, please do let me know. Let's take a break. So we'll soon start the different topics of Bootstrap again. Okay. And we're going to understand how it works. Fine. So we have understood about a lot of things in Bootstrap, the buttons, how to make it large, default and small. We have one more kind of button, which is block level buttons, right? So let's create that. Here what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put one HR and I'm going to create a div here. Let's say in the div, I'm going to give here a D grid. So, okay, a D grid. So to create a block level buttons that spans the entire width of the parent element. So it will take the entire width of the parent element and that's how it's going to give me the block level buttons. So this will take the whole width of the parent element using the dot D grid. Okay. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use button and type button. Class we know what you have to use, button btn primary, and this time what you're going to use is we are going to use btn dash block. So it will present you a block kind of block level buttons. So the whole width it will take of that div element because the parent is div for me in my case. So here I'm going to just write full width buttons. Okay, let's save this. Let's go back to my browser. 1 second. One second, I'm missing something, or the server is not running right now. btn class d grid type button class, spelling is correct, right? btn primary btn block. Okay, let's save this. Let's run it in a browser again. I'm not sure if my earlier browser thing is working or not. Yeah, so you can see here I am getting this full width button. Okay, so again understand that this is happening with the div. So if I open this, if I go down, this is my div. Can you see this? Right? So this is happening to the div, not to only this button. This button is only that blue color thing. If you can observe, there are two colors. One is green and one is blue. Look at it closely. Look at it closely. You will be able to see that. So the button is the blue part right now. And once I go to div, you can see that the length is happening to the div. That's why we are using dgrid here. So once you use dgrid, that means it will take the width of the whole div itself. Okay, so it's taking the width of the whole div and then it's giving me the button there. Okay, that is what is your block level buttons. Okay, we can give different kind of more buttons as well. One second, if you have many broken control space between. Okay, so let's say I have some more buttons. Pasting it here, pasting it here. We have 3 buttons, right? Let's look it out how it is looking in my browser. So if you look at this, this is giving me 3 buttons together, but it is it looking like a button? No, right? I can click on it, but it's not looking like a button. So what we have to do here is we have to give a gap here. So dgrid, what I can do here is I can just give here gap 3. This gap 3 will work in any of the places. So gap 3 means 3 gaps will be given. Okay. Now if I go back, if I just save this, you can see here 3 gaps is provided. Now have a look how this 3 gaps looks like. So you can see here, this is the gap, the red color part which you can see. So we are getting gaps there. This is what is providing your gap 3. Okay. So anything which you want to see, which you want to observe, where it is happening, why is it happening, go ahead to inspect and check out. You will be able to understand everything. Okay. Now we are going to do active and disable buttons. So let's try to see how to do that. Okay. Now active and disable buttons means that you can disable the button, nobody will be able to click on it, and active means that it is clickable. So let's create that. Let me just remove all these divs. We don't need it. Let's just keep this container empty3 and let's start creating some of the divs now. Okay, so here I'm going to give a button, right? Let's say type, let's say button. Okay, and here I'm going to just give a class btn primary. This is gonna be blue in color, so a normal thing. Just let's write here button. Next I'm going to create another button. This is normal button. The first one is a normal button. The second one will create an active button. So let's say type. I'm going to just say type button, and we are going to add a class. In this we are going to add one of the keyword. So let's say, let's make it one second, let's make it as warning. To this I'm writing here active. So this button is active. Okay, so let's say active. Next, one more button. So let's copy this. Let's copy this whole thing. Let's paste it here. let's remove this and let's just make it here as danger, and let's say it as disabled. It's disabled, you cannot use this particular button. I'm going to just write here disabled. Also here I can write disabled, but this is not a button, so let me just remove this. I'm going to create a link. So we have ahref class btn primary disabled. Okay, and let's write here disabled link. The upper one is a button, the down one is a link. Let's save this. Let's go ahead in my browser. Let's check out. So you can see here button. See the disabled, see the color of it. Can you observe the color? The disabled things, the disabled buttons is having a faded color, but the normal buttons are having the original color. So I hope you can see it, right? You can see the button is, this one is working, this one is working because it's active and this is a normal button. But when you talk about this disabled, you can see here it's not been clickable. You can't click on it. The disabled link is also a link which is disabled. We cannot click on it. Same thing if I talk about the colors, you can see here if I make it danger, right? And if I make it as, yeah, this is already primary. So you can see here what's the difference between the color, right? You can see the color difference. So that's what Bootstrap does it to us. This does it to the buttons. Okay. That is what is your active and disabled. Now, the next part, we are also going to talk about spinners. But before spinners, we are going to talk about spinner buttons. So spinner buttons are really useful. I'm just going to tell you what is spinner buttons. We need to remember all these classes. Yes, you need to remember all these classes. This is one thing which is there in Bootstrap. Without classes in Bootstrap, you won't be able to do any particular thing. Okay. So yes, you need to remember all these classes. Even one dash is missing. Most of the cases, what happens that one dash will be missed, and your output will not give you the same thing which you are expecting. So please remember that in all the classes you have a dash, and if you want to use two classes, then we just don't give anything. We just give space and then write the another class. So yeah, these all things you need to remember. So let's say button. I'm going to use a class. Button primary. Okay. Now in this button, I want to use some things. I want to just show that a spinner with loading, right? A text, something like that. So in a spinner, I'm just going to use a class. So for the spinner is something which, keeps on. If you click on search, it goes on, right? Round and round. That's what we are going to create here. So I'm just going to write here spinner border. Spinner border means only the border will be there in the spinner, and I want it to be small. So I'm just going to write here spinner border SM, and let's close this. So this is one of the example. Let's try it out. If I save this and I go back, you can see here this is what you are getting. So this is spinner border SM. That means SM means small one. The default one will be a little bit larger than this, but this is small one. Let me just check if I'm in the 100%. Yeah. Okay. So this is the first button without anything which we have written. We have not written any text. It's just the spinner we wanted, and that's what we have written there, right? Now in the next one, what you're going to do is we are going to write loading with the spinner. So with this, I'm going to just write here, not inside that, but outside it. Just going to write here loading, and this is what I'm going to print. Fine. Next one, what I'm going to do here is same thing, but I'm going to just make this as disabled. Okay. And let's try this out. If you look at the browser, you can see here it's disabled. The color has been changed. We cannot click that, but here we can click it, and here also we can click it, right? Another thing, one more property we have for spinner. So let's understand what's that. I'm going to just paste it here, and we are not going to write spinner border, but we are just going to write here spinner grow. Okay, spinner grow, sn spinner. Again, here we are not going to use border, we are going to use grow. Grow and border is two things which we have in spinner part. So disabled. Let's try it out. Let's save this. Let's check out. So you can see now, it will not be a border now, but it will be something else. So you can see this is the grow. So it just blinks like that. Okay, that side is grow. Fine. So normally people do use this border itself, but we'll also come to this topic again. This is a separate topic, so we're going to come back to that. But yeah, this is how it is used. Also, this library like Bootstrap Material UI will be responsive on its own, or we need to make them. No, it's responsive on its own. So it's in the classes itself, responsiveness is given. We just need to make sure that we use the responsive commands like SM, LG, XL, double XL. These all commands we need to write. And also in grid systems, we need to use grid systems numbers. We need to provide that because Bootstrap will not understand how good grid system will work. We need to make them understand how grid system is gonna work, right? So yeah, in those cases we need to tell Bootstrap, but other things Bootstrap is gonna take care about all the responsiveness. Okay, so fine, this was the spinner which we have done. Okay, now next is one more amazing thing, which is your button groups. So I'm going to just again delete this, and here I'm going to mention the button groups. Button groups is nothing but when you have all the buttons together at one place. So let's say I have here div class, and let's say I'm going to just put up here our button group. Inside this button group, you can have several different kinds of buttons. So let's say I'm just putting here type button, and to this I'm going to put down a class in which I'll give the button primary, and just going to normally write here, let's say HTML. Similarly, because it's a group of buttons, I'm going to make a group of buttons here, and let's try out how is it looking like. Let's write here CSS, and let's write here JavaScript. Okay, now let's try to save this. Let's see what's happening. If I go back, you can see here, this is how the group button is looking like, right? So we have the buttons, but in a group, right? Now in this also we can do a lot of things. We can make it large, we can make it small. This is by default. So you know how to make it large and how to make it small. You can use LG and you can use SM to do that. Just one example I'll give you here. So let's say BTN group. If you write LG, this is gonna give you the large buttons. So if you look at this, now the buttons are much more larger. Earlier it was not this much big. Okay. Similarly, you can use for SM, so it will come as small. Again, one question also comes here that we have three sizes. We have SM, we have default, and we have large, right? What if I don't want that much small and that much large? I don't want also default. I want in the middle of something. So if your SM is also you don't want to use, if you don't want to use LG also, if you don't want to use the default also, then you have to go to CSS part. Okay, you have to do it manually. So it's something like Bootstrap does it automatically. It gives us things automatically to do, but in CSS you have to do it manually. So in some cases we do that because in let's say you are creating a web page and you have to create a button in one of the bar, right? But the bar is not that bigger that LG, SM or default is getting fitted in. So we need to create CSS for that so that we give a particular height and width to that button so that it gets fixed in there. So sometimes we do require to use it, but in most of the cases, people do create web pages directly using Bootstrap commands because they don't want to add external features of CSS and all, because it actually, you know, makes the website or makes the source code more chaos, right? So that's why they don't want to do that. So they use Bootstrap directly. So this is what is your large, and we can use the small and all. I'm not going to show that. That's very simple. Now here what we are going to do is, let's say I'm using the same div again, and I'm not going to use this part, but instead I'm going to just make here it as vertical. So let's save this and let's check out what is happening. So if you look at here, we are getting these things as vertical. So these are also buttons, but group buttons in vertical manner, right? So you must have seen these all things, and you know now it is very easy because you can create navigation links like this also, right? So it's now very easy. You have to just place it here, and if you click on HTML, it opens HTML page. If you click on CSS, it opens CSS page. So it becomes very easy now. Correct? Okay, so we can have nested buttons as well. Like if say that inside CSS we want to write something else, inside HTML we want to add something else, we can do that as well. So here what we are going to do is div class button group. I'm gonna remove this part. Okay, and in the first button I'm not going to do anything. In the second button, I'm going to put up a button group. So let's say div class, going to put up another button group, right? And this div I'm going to close it later on. So inside this button group we have the button type button class bttn primary. Here we are going to use one more command, one more class, which is drop down. So I'm going to use here drop down because inside CSS we want to write something else. So drop down toggle is one of the class which we can use. And also if somebody is clicking on CSS, it has to drop down it, right? So it is doing some task. So again, the click event is happening, right? When somebody is clicking, the same CSS will give you a drop down. So here we need to add some more things. So with drop down toggle, after this, what you have to do, we have to use data bs toggle. Okay. And what this will do is this will drop down. Okay. Again, repeating. So you can see here, we have this button, type button, class btn primary, drop down toggle. Now to this drop, we have told that it will be presenting a drop down toggle, but we do not know that if I click on it, something should happen. So we are giving a command there. We are saying that whatever data is there, once any user is clicking on that, it should drop down it. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just close the div in here. But before that, because CSS will have some more things, I need to write the command for CSS as well. So I need to write ul, I need to write li, and to this we need to give some commands. So for ul we'll have class drop down menu, and in li we'll start creating the drop down item. So a class, you can see here so many classes we have used here, right? These all classes you need to remember if you want to use Bootstrap. So you can see here we have used here drop down toggle, we have used here the working part, database toggle drop down, then we have used drop down menu, and then we have used drop down item. So it's mostly understood that it is drop down menu and then you have the drop down item, but again, remembering is something which you need to do here. href, let's close this, and here we are going to write whatever drop down list I want to write. So let's say I'm writing here tailwind, and let's repeat this. Okay, these two items which I have written in my code, I already have these two buttons as well. Let's save this. Let's try it out whether it's working or not. If I go here, you can see the drop down. If I click on it, it is giving me Tailwind and says CSS. Okay, so what's happening here? Basically, the HTML and JavaScript is written in a simple manner, but when it comes to CSS, what is happening? When I click on this, an event is happening, and it's not that event which is there in JavaScript, but it's an event of Bootstrap. So in the Bootstrap itself, I've told what it has to do. It has to go. It has to take the data, and it has to give the drop down. So there is a drop down menu which it will show. There are two items of drop down, which is drop down item, Tailwind and CSS, and that's what it is showing me. Similarly, I've given the links. I can click on it and it will open that. So we can give a link also. Yeah. Okay. So that's what is your drop down menu. So remember this. This is really very important. Now let's come back to one of the really amazing part, because this will help you in your portfolio also. So this is called as progress bar, right? So we are going to understand how progress bar is created, because progress bars can be used in your portfolio as well. So we're going to just check how these progress bars are created. So at first what we are going to do is, let's create the div. Let's say class, and let's say here as the progress. Inside this we are going to have the div, and let's say class. Here we are going to have progress bar. First of all, let's keep it as it is. Let's not give anything else. Let's keep as it is. So if I save this, let's check out what's happening. So you can see here there is a bar, but there is no color to here, and it's just a bar. There's just a bar. If I inspect it, you can see here this div is the whole container, but this div is the progress bar which is providing me that, right? So let's do something. Let's add a style here. Let's add a style here. So we are using first time CSS in our Bootstrap code, just to give the width. So let's say if I'm giving 70%, let's save this. Let's go back. So you can see here. So you can see here with the 100%, 70% is filled up. So this you can use in your portfolios. You can just say that, you know, I know in 100% I only know 70% HTML. Like in this case, you can just put down into your portfolio project, so that it tells the interviewer that how much knowledge you have in which language, how much efficient you are, right? So this kind of progress bar you can provide there. Hi Jitender. So if you remove the JS link on the Bootstrap, so toggle will work. Let's try to do that. I'm gonna remove. Okay, I have removed the code also, right? I don't think it's like that. See, some of the codes are there in script, some of the codes are there in CSS. So I'm not sure whether it'll remove or not. Let's try to do that. I don't know if I can go back to that code. Okay. Yeah. So I have this toggle here, right? And you are saying that if I remove this code from here, so whether this toggle will work or not. So if I go back to my program, you can see here, this toggle is not working. Okay. So if I click on this, this is not working. Right? So that's databs toggle is nothing but in the JavaScript library. Okay. But other things are happening. You can see the colors and all are happening. So all the other classes are in their CSS file. That's why it is showing you. But in JavaScript, we have that command. That's why it's not working. I hope you have understood this, Jitender. So let me just bring back, and I don't know if I can go back. Okay, fine. So I showed you the boost. I showed you the progress bar. So let's increase the height, like let's increase the width and all those things. Let me write the code again. Let me remove this part. So here div class, what I wrote here. I wrote progress, and I also wrote here one more div in which I give progress bar, and I give this style here in which I mentioned width to be 70%. That is the code which I wrote, right? And yeah, so let's save this. Let's check out if I'm getting the same result. Yes, I am getting it. Okay. Now in this case, what I want to do is I want to produce progress bar, but with different heights and all. So let's try to do that. So let's say I'm putting up here it as progress. This is the div container. I'm just going to write here style. Let's say height. Where is the bracket? Yeah. The style height 10 pixel, right? Let's save this. Let's check out what is happening. So if you look at this is 10 pixel. Okay. This is 10 pixel. Let's come back to the code. Let's write width here as 40% and height as 10 pixel, right? So if I do this again and again, in this one I'm going to increase the height. So let's make it 20 and let's make this as 30. Here let's make it 50 and let's make this as 20 and this one as 60 and this one as 30. So if I save this, if I go back and check it, you can see the progress bar length, but still again this is not looking very nice. So let's do some change. What I can do here is I can give some spaces. So I can give a HR or a BR here so that one space can come. Let's say an HR I'm giving. Let's save this. Let's go back. So now you can see how it is, right? So this first one is height 10 pixel. Second one is height 20 pixel. Third one is height 30 pixel. And the width is 40% here. So that's why it is 40%, 50%, 60%. And the height of this is 10 pixel. That means if I go to inspect and if I go to body, if I go to div, you can see here this div, right? This div height is 10 pixel. If I open this up, now that height is 10 pixel. Okay, the blue color part. This is the blue color part. And this is the whole thing. Again here, if I open this, this is the blue color part, but this is the whole thing. So let's come back to the code. See, I've given you 10 pixel and 10 pixel. That is why it's in the same thing, right? Let's see if I'm giving you 30 pixel. That means the blue color thing, I am making it more, correct? Let's have a look what's happening. So I've just written here 10 pixel, but I've made this 30 pixel, right? Let's have a look what's happening. If I go back, you can see here, this 30 pixel is not getting increased, right? Now, what is the reason behind that this blue color thing is not getting increased? Because in your div element, the div element is producing this bar, right? This bar is having 10 pixel of size. Even if you're giving more than that, it's not gonna get more than that because your parent element is having 10 pixel. It's not gonna change that. Okay. So here you can only use 10 pixel. Even if you don't use this, you are going to get that blue color thing. Okay. So that's what is your progress bar. If you want to write something inside this, you can write it. So here, let's say I want to write, this is how much, 40%, right? So let's say I'm going to write 40% here. and let's say I'm going to write here 50%, and let's say I want to write here 60%. So I can do that, right? If I save this, have a look what's gonna happen in my code. So 40% is written here. If you can't see it, just let me make it bigger. So you can see 40%, 50%, 60%, everything is visible, right? Now let's go back. So that's my one color progress bar where I'm not giving any kind of color here, right? But now what we are going to do, we are going to give the background color to all of these. So what I'm going to do here is, not here, inside this, I'm going to just write BG success. Okay. Similar way, I'm going to put up here BG danger. Let's say BG warning. So these are very simple. See, how much ever you'll practice, the way I am writing, I am practicing, you know, this is the way how I have learned. So in the same way, you also have learned, you have to learn in the same flow, in the same way. How much ever practice you will do, that much idea will get what is the class name, and you will not do any mistakes. So you can see here, success, danger, and warning. Colors have been changed. By default, it will be primary, the blue color. Let's come back to the code. Again, we can also have some more kind of things here. So let's see, if I have progress bar here, I can write here progress bar striped. So what this will do, this will give me a striped progress bar. That means some design will come. So let's do it in all three so that you can see the effect in all three of them. So you can see here, the effect is the striped part. You can see the striped thing, right? That's the progress bar striped. Also, we can animate this so that this stripe can move. So we can animate this as well. So for that, what you have to do, you have to just write here progress bar striped, and then progress bar animated. So all these things you have to write here. Similarly, I'll just copy paste this for every one. Let's go back, and you can see here it is moving. Okay, so this progress bar is moving, right? That's what is animated is striped bar. Okay, so that also you can do. You can have multiple progress bar also. So in that case, what you can do is, how you can create that is, let's say I'm going to create a different code here. Let's say I'm giving an HR here. One more HR I'll give. Let's create a div. Let's create a class. Let's say here progress. And here what I'm going to do, let's say div, let's say class. Here I'm just going to say progress bar, and I'm going to just say BG success. This is for the green color. And to this, I'm going to just give a style so that I can get the value. So width, I'm going to give here as 40%. And going to close this. I'm just going to write here, let's say local memory. Okay, this is the first div which is getting closed. So I'm gonna copy this, paste it here. Now again, understand what I'm doing. I'm not creating different div class progress, right? I'm doing it in the same way. You can see here, this having a different divs, but this one is having only one progress, and inside that we have three. So this is the difference which we are doing in the upper code and the down code. So let's say I'm writing here danger, and in this one, let's say I'm writing warning. Okay, and in this one, I'm just going to mention as 20%, or in this one, I'm just going to mention as 30%. This one is local memory. So let's say this is a global memory, and this is a free memory. Okay, let's save this. Let's check out what is happening. So if you have a look, you are getting, okay, let me increase the size here. This is very small. Style. You know how to increase the size. I'm not going to show the code. You know how to do that. Let's say I'm just going to put up here it as 25 pixel. Yep, so you can see here you have local memory, global memory, free memory. This is how it is multiple progress bars, right? In one. You can see here height 25 pixel. That's how I have given the code for it. Fine. So remember we did this spinners part, right? And we understood how to give the spinner. We use the spinner border, right? And let's try to see one more example of that. So here what we are going to do is, so in this one, spinner border itself we will use, but in a different way. So let's say class, and I'm going to use here the spinner border. Okay, spinner border, and text I'm going to just write muted. Right now I'm gonna close this. Similarly, this text muted, here I'm going to change the values. So here not text muted, I'm just going to write here text primary. Similarly, we can do text secondary, we can do text danger, we can do text warning, and similarly like this we can go on, right? Now have a look what's going to happen. You already must have understood. So if I show you the web page, just have a look. This is going to have circles. All the spinners are spinning, but with different colors. Okay, let's move ahead. And let's try to do some growing spinners. For growing spinners, what you have to change? You have to just make it spinner border. This spinner border, just change it to spinner grow, and you will be able to change the spinner border with spinner grow. Same things. Let's check out. So you can see here, this is how it is. Okay. Next, spinner grow, spinner border. Now we have spinner size. Spinner size we can give SM and LG in any of the places. I have already shown you how to do that. Let me just give you an example. So let's say if I'm writing here spinner border, let's say I'm writing here spinner grow, going to use here SM. I'm going to use here spinner border. Again, understand that whenever you're using small or large, you have to again write spinner grow, the whole complete thing. Do not just add it in the first one itself. So I'm going to use here LG. Let's say border. I hope you are understanding what I am trying to do. Right, let's save this. Let's check out. So you can see here. Okay, so basically the first one is small, the second one is larger border wala, then the third one is larger grow wala, and then the fourth one is smaller border wala, fifth one is default. So you can see the size change. This is large, this is small, this is the default. Okay. Fine, that is your spinner size, how you can change. Spinner buttons I've already shown you. Spinner buttons, how you can do that. Okay, one more interesting thing, and then we are going to end this session. So the next interesting thing is the badge. Now these badges are really important to understand, because these badges will really help you in some of web pages when you will create. So let's understand how do we do that. Okay. Now let's say if I have one H1 and in this H1 I'm just writing here heading. Okay. And to this I will prepare a span in which I'm going to give a class. Here I'm going to use badge and I'm just going to use here BG warning. Okay. I'm going to close this and inside this I'm just going to write here click. Not to click, nobody will click that, but I'm just writing it. So let's see what's happening. So if I go back, you can see here this is a badge. So I've written heading and then click, but this click is basically, you can say that it's showing something, right? So we use this in many places. I'm just going to show you where we can use it, but this is what is badge. Okay. We'll try to use it in some of the places and we'll try to see how we can show it. One is your contextual badges, which is this one. So you can write it in any manner. Let's say that if I'm writing here as directly as a span class, you can directly write badge and BG danger. You can just mention here danger. That's it. If I save this, you will be able to get the danger thing. Can you see that? Right? The earlier one was written in H1, that's why it was big. The next one is in span and that's why it is small. Okay, don't worry about that. Here what changes we can do is that one is called as contextual badges, which we have used here right now, and one is called as pill badges. So for pill badges, what you have to do, pill is nothing but how the pill looks like, right? Right now you can see how this is looking like. Just let me zoom it. So you can see how this is looking like, right? It's a square box. So now let's come to the code and let's write down the pill badges. So for this, how your hi Nilesh, Bhaiya, can we give that grow class to any icon or image? No, the grow will only work with the spinner. That's a one class name, spinner grow. That's one class name, spinner grow. Okay, we can't use it with anything else directly. So span class, let's say badge. Here I'm going to use rounded. Let's say pill. Okay, and BG. Here I'm going to just give success. Okay, and let's use your success. So this is rounded pill. That means how your medicine looks like, right? The cylindrical pill. So that shape, that is why it is named as rounded pill. So if I save this, go back to my browser, you can see here it looks like a pill, right? So we have danger, we have success. So it's a different way to write down in the web pages. You can use in this way, you can use in this way. Do not go through danger or success. You can write something else. To explain you, I'm doing this. So in many of the web pages, you must have seen this green color button kind of thing, right? So we can do that. If you want to give like first the spinner is loading for some seconds and then our progress bar grow for some percent, can be done this using Bootstrap. Jitender, you can do this, but you have to use CSS and JavaScript in that. See, many times you must be understanding that loading will only happen in the web page when your server is taking time to get back the request or response, right? That's when we use loading. Otherwise, just to display loading, you don't do that, right? So the basic use of this loading or spinner is whenever in a web page you are requesting something from the server, the amount of time which it will take to respond back, in that amount of time, I just want to show this spinner. So only for 2 or 3 seconds, I want to show this spinner so that it looks attractive, that okay, it is loading and loading and loading, and then I got the thing, right? Same thing happens in YouTube buffering, right? It just gets loaded. That loaded thing, how it's coming? Because somebody has kept it there. If he would have not kept it there, you won't be able to identify whether it is buffering or not, right? So just to make you understand that it's loading or it's buffering, we try to put that there, correct? So we can do that using animations if you want, but it will be a tedious task. And I mean, can we animate any icon or image with those classes rather than div? Yes, you can do that. It's not important to use div. The class name should be correct one. The class name should be used as um, what was that? Spinner, spinner grow, spinner dash grow. It should be used. You cannot use grow with anything else. Okay, perfect. So this was, yeah, so this was one of the thing. Now one interesting fact I wanted to explain it here to you, that see, this is the one which I was talking about, and then we are going to just end this session. So we have button, okay, and we have type equal to button, right? And here just going to write class, let's say btn primary. Okay, this is the button which I am giving here, right? Now let's say I have messages, right? And span, let's say class, let's say here I'm going to give badge. Now understand that inside the button I'm putting a badge, right? So inside there will be a button, and inside the badge I'm putting a button, I'm putting a badge. So badge I'm giving it as bg danger, and let's say I'm printing in the span 4, right? This is the very coolest example which I wanted to show you, because this is what you will try it in your web pages as well. So one second. अच्छा, इसमें div class container I have not given na, that's why it is coming in the corner. Container mt3, and remove this div, keep it down, let's save it. Yeah, now have a look. So you can see what's happening. Let me just bring it back, one second, bring it back to 100%. You can see what's happening, right? So this is what we normally get in many times. One second, messages will have some space. Yeah, messages and then 4. So we get a notification, right? This kind of notifications, like there are 4 messages you pending, right? Those kind of things. So you can design it in different manners, and this is how we do it, right? So these are all the topics which we have seen. We have seen a lot of things. Again, we'll do some part 3 and part 4. We are going to understand and Bootstrap, and we are going to just finish it off. Okay, so you can use these things directly. We'll also do some projects, don't worry. We are going to come up with some projects as well, where we are going to use directly these classes, and I'm going to create some web pages only using HTML and Bootstrap. So we are going to do that just the way I've done for HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I'm also coming up with Bootstrap projects and Bootstrap interview questions as well. Fine, so don't worry about that. So I hope this makes sense, right? And I hope that you liked it. I'll be coming up with Bootstrap December. I think tomorrow there will be no sessions. I'll not be taking any sessions tomorrow. But yeah, 2nd December I'll be again coming back, and I'll be taking at least 1 or 2 sessions in Bootstrap or jQuery. jQuery and Bootstrap I'll be taking mainly because jQuery is pending right now. So jQuery and Bootstrap I'll be taking, and from 3rd December I'll be starting with Tailwind CSS. Fine. So that what is the plan. So stick to this, stick to the plan, and please have a look in the playlist, whatever things are there and whatever is upcoming. And I've already told my team that all the notifications will be sent in the Telegram channel. So from December you will be getting all the notifications in Telegram channel and in the community support, in the community thing of CodeBeyond YouTube channel. Okay, so everything will be updated from December. Everything will be there soon. I'm going to create one Google Drive, and I'm putting all the projects there and sending it in Telegram. So by 1st week of December everything will be there in your hand. Okay, I'm coming up with what else, the what is that, Relevel sample paper wala full front end development ka question paper I am solving I'm coming up with that session, and also I'm coming up with 2 more session on tips and tricks of cracking interviews, right? Yeah, so that's it. Good night, everybody. Please join the Telegram channel. The Telegram channel is the link is given in the description. Go ahead and click on it, join it, so that you get all the notifications from December for my sessions, at what time I'll be coming with particular topic I'll be taking. Everything will be updated there, and I hope you guys are happy with the content. If you have any feedbacks, please do let me know so that I can work on it. Okay. Also, please do subscribe the YouTube channel, which is CodeBeyond. Hit the notification bell so that you get an update in the notifications in the YouTube app as well. And also, please like and share the videos so that more and more people will get to know about this, right? Thank you so much, guys. I'll meet you really soon. Good night.